Welcome to episode 10 of the X Perspective podcast. I'm your host, Raj. This episode is a little different. It's what we call the wrap-up episode for the season of courage. Today, I am delighted to share my own personal story of courage and explain what I have learned from the stories shared by my guests. As we wrap up season 1, I watch the Bangkok rain quietly drip against the windows. I find tranquility in listening to it as I comfortably sit in my chair. I begin to reflect about what courage means to me and how the stories from my guests have provided me with more perspective on the human condition. Before I began the first season of the X Perspective podcast, I had defined courage as an act of summoning your mental strength to pursue actions in order to overcome obstacles that frighten you. I believe it takes courage to step into the unknown realm despite your fears. For those of you who may have listened to the previous episodes, you will recognize that each one of my guests has expressed their perspective on courage through a personal story. Now let me do the same and share my personal story to illustrate my definition of courage. More than 20 years ago, in my early 20s, despite feeling extremely frightened, I somehow found the strength to truly step into the unknown. Up to that point in my life, I would say I had never really taken any big life-changing risks. Why would I? My loving parents had instilled in me their values and provided me with a roadmap for my life. This included having an arranged marriage in my 20s. Although I was born in Canada, my parents, who were immigrants, still tightly held on to their cultural traditions from India. Being an obedient daughter and having lots of respect for my parents, I agreed to their wishes of having an arranged marriage. But then here comes the plot twist. My heart was about to get tested, and it would take me lots of courage to deal with this unfamiliar territory. If I think about it, my story of courage is fairly common, but of course, every individual story is unique. So here it is. It all started during the summer of 2001, a wonderful and memorable summer indeed. Only a few months earlier, in March, I had met my future husband. He was a handsome, blonde-haired man with beautiful blue eyes and a friendly smile. A Canadian with a British heritage. That summer, I developed a strong friendship with Jason. By fall, we both decided to be a couple. Now look, when I tell people my story, perhaps they don't believe me, but I never really had any intention of falling in love. Nor did Jason. It happened unexpectedly and naturally. Quite a romantic story, eh? But all of a sudden, I found myself in a terrifying, unknown situation. I mean, I wanted to be in a relationship with Jason, but I knew my parents would feel betrayed and devastated. Remember, I was supposed to have an arranged marriage with an Indian, not start a new trend of dating a Canadian. As far as I knew, nobody in my family, including all my relatives, had ever dated or married outside of the Indian culture. Period. It had always been arranged marriages. It was tradition. How could I muster up the courage to dishonor my parents and question generations of sacred tradition? My parents would feel so ashamed and disappointed. Others in their community would talk ill about me, and worse, frown upon my parents for having such a disobedient daughter. But then, how could I ignore the strong feelings I had towards Jason? How could I not listen to what my heart really wanted? Should I really risk the love of my family for a man I met only a few months ago? Tough situation, eh? I had to make one of the hardest decisions in my life in my early 20s, a decision that would impact the rest of my life. Should I follow my heart and take the risk, or remain obedient to my parents, whom I loved very much? It took a lot of courage to face my fears. But eventually, I summoned the courage to follow my heart. Unfortunately, just as I had predicted, I endured a lot of family distress and disapproval over the first few years of the relationship. However, sometimes life has a way of working out. Since 2001 and now 24 years later, Jason and I continue to live happily together. With time, my parents came to accept my relationship with Jason, and today they embrace him with lots of love and kindness. He has indeed become a significant part of our family. People summon their courage for different reasons and in varying capacities and ways. All 10 personal stories in this season, including mine, illustrate these points. Aside from these observations, the stories have shown me that certain factors help to develop courage. The first one is time. Courage is developed over time. It's like a muscle that needs to be used and strengthened. Whether it was Nanad shifting careers from working as a scuba diver to starting his own business, or Ruth leaving her family and friends behind in her late 50s to reinvent herself abroad, the courage to do so for both these guests happened over the years. This takes me to my second observation. Take baby steps. When building your courage muscle, it's important to start small so you will not feel discouraged. After 18-year-old Chris experienced a traumatic brain injury, he built his courage by first overcoming a small struggle, then reaching for a tougher challenge, and thereafter continuously progressing to greater heights. First, he tried his hand at living on his own on a university campus. Then he moved to China from the United States to study. Next, he found work in Hong Kong and eventually relocated to Thailand, all while recovering from his severe brain injury. My third point is having self-confidence helps you to summon your courage. It becomes easier to be courageous when you believe in yourself. After traveling and living abroad, Jason built more self-confidence and then mustered the courage to dream even bigger. He desired and envisioned a life where he could find meaning through creating his own life path. And that meant doing the unexpected. Traveling the world for a year in his late 20s instead of what his family and society expected. That was getting married, settling down, and pursuing a career. Many of my other guests have shared stories that illustrate how surrounding yourself with supportive people helps to build your courage. After his tragic accident that left him unable to walk at first, Nope found the courage to survive a very dark period in his life due to the love from his family and friends. For long-distance runner Tara, the running community showed her lots of support and kindness when she finally revealed that she suffered from a chronic immune disease. And then there is Betsy. After finding support from the alternative community, she had the courage to take off her wig and show the world that she had alopecia. My last takeaway is strong motivation is a powerful force that allows people to be courageous. In Martin's case, he was willing to risk leaving his stable job and great financial security for a risky job and an unconventional lifestyle. He was motivated to take the risk because he desired to live a more meaningful life. And then there is Shelka's story that shows if you truly desire something, sometimes the only way through the darkness is to summon your courage yourself. After having a stillbirth, Shelka fell into a deep and long depression. It was her desire to have a healthy baby and see her husband happy that allowed her to eventually summon her inner tigress, her courage. As for me, I was motivated to be courageous because of my strong desire to listen to my heart and cultivate a relationship with an amazing human being. Time, baby steps, self-confidence, environment, and motivation all seem to contribute to developing one's courage. My listeners, what do you think helps to develop your courage? After listening to these stories of courage, what did you learn about yourself? or the human condition? Has your perspective changed or grown? If so, how? Also, how do you define courage? I really hope you have enjoyed the episodes we have brought you this season. If you have not listened to some of the stories, no worries. You can find them easily by visiting our website at www.theexperspectivepodcast.com or by searching for the X Perspective Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. My listeners, thank you for your attention and time. Before I sign off, I have a favor to ask. If you like the X Perspective Podcast, please share the episodes online and tell your family and friends. There are so many inspiring and powerful stories of courage that have been shared this season, and I would love for people to listen to them. Your support would be greatly appreciated. Thanks again for listening. See you in Season 2.